Good morning. Welcome back to Bald Father Bets, and hello from Bruce. He is back on the show to make some of his picks official today. So quick recap of yesterday, and then we'll go into the picks for today, NFL Sunday. But first, give the video some love, like, share, comment. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, notifications on. Sometimes we do post close up until kickoff, like today, if we need more time to make a read. Never charge for the picks, just want to help grow the channel. The comments, the interaction with you guys is my favorite part. So yesterday, College Football Saturday, 10, 3, and 6, so plus 7 units on the day. Positive day for us. Should have probably been even more positive, but that's okay. Starting out in the morning, 2 wins with the Alabama game. That one's not much needed to talk about there. They pretty much dominated. They clearly had just a overall scheme and line of scrimmage advantage, and they're motivated. I think the worst thing that could have happened to Wisconsin going to that game was that Alabama got beat by Florida State the way that they did, because that really then changed Alabama's mindset heading into the next two games. You weren't going to catch them sleeping, right? I don't know if anyone's going to catch Alabama sleeping the entire rest of the season, unless something kind of changes. But they seem to have changed something mentally within the groups. That's positive. And then we had Georgia Tech plus 3.5. Obviously, we got the win. Georgia Tech got the win outright. I had a pretty strong indication Georgia Tech would win the game outright. I still love Clemson on the futures market, especially for the ACC, now that they officially have an ACC loss. That's it. Now, if Georgia Tech ends up having an incredible season and Miami stays undefeated, you may not get a chance with them in the ACC title game. But I still like Clemson. I think they're ultimately going to figure some of these things out. Then we head into the 3:30, the 2 afternoon games. So 3:30 and 4:30. Georgia at -3. We got a push there. We were probably lucky to get a push there. Probably should have lost that one, but that's okay. Because there's another one we should have at least pushed that we lost later on that I'm going to talk about. And then Miami smacked UCF around. Looking back on it, that one should have been more than 2 units. I was pretty confident in that. You just didn't. There's that factor of what USF had done previously with Florida and Boise State, so I wanted to be cautious on that. And then in the evening games, easy win with Vandy in South Carolina. We had plus 5.5, and obviously Vandy won 31-7. And then Florida LSU, we get a push at the plus 10, but I mean, Florida has 23 first downs, LSU has 10. Florida outgains them 366 to like 322, I think, and 50 of the 322 for LSU was on that last 50-yard play that iced the game. 5 interceptions by Lagway, and they were some of the worst interceptions. We were watching it at some friend's house, and I mean, the whole room was just like waiting in anticipation for him to throw a pick on those last few drives every single time, because it was like clockwork. It was bad. I don't see how Napier survives this, and I don't see how Lagway stays at Florida through this year if Napier gets canned. They'll have to make a transition. They'll have to bring in a new coach. I think who'll want a new. Even though Lagway's so talented, I think it's time probably for him to make a fresh start somewhere else, because that was just horrendous, and he didn't look good against USF either. Kind of similar, actually, a little bit similar to what Arch is doing at Texas, except Arch isn't throwing the picks, so that's kind of the difference there. And Texas has a better defense, even though Florida's defense played great yesterday. I mean, if you're a Florida defender right now, after holding LSU to 20 and holding USF to 18, you got to be pretty morally defeated. And then Notre Dame, where we had -6 against A&M, get that touchdown late, think we're going to go up by 7 to then get the cover. They missed the extra point. So then we're going to have a push, and then A&M scores on a 4th and goal in the end of the game. That was pretty wild. Yes, it was a hold on A&M in that play, but calls go back and forth all game, so it doesn't really matter. So that was our only loss on the day. Again, 10, 3, and 6 plus 7 units on the day. So positive day for us yesterday. Let's hope we have another one today. All right, some of these picks for NFL we've already given to you throughout the week. I'm just going to run through all of them again. Say the unit amount as well, and then let you get out of here and enjoy your NFL Sunday. So starting out with the 1 p.m. window, we have the Jaguars +4 for 2 units. We've already given that one out. Like that a lot. Cincinnati won, but they did not necessarily look good. 7 total yards of offense in the second half against Cleveland last week. They have a history of starting slow, and it would appear we have a little bit of a marriage here between Cohen and Lawrence with that Jaguars offense that's positive. Jets +6.5. This one is also for 2 units going up against the Bills. Ed Oliver being out is a factor in this, but then also just how the Jets offense with Justin Fields kind of masks their offensive line issues. We like that one a lot. I know everyone and their mother's on the Bills after what Josh Allen did, but we like the Jets here plus the 6.5 for 2 units. And then the rest of these 1 p.m. window games, these are all going to be 1 unit. Dolphins -1.5 against the Patriots. Patriots haven't won in Miami since 2019. Again, a lot of that has to do with, we talk about this time of year, especially when teams up north come down south, Miami specifically. This game could be dead on arrival because Miami could be a dead team. We're not going to check that box quite yet. I don't think Miami's a good team, but I don't think that by week 2 everyone's thrown in the towel. So I do think that you'll see them play inspired. A Vrabel team is always going to play inspired, so that's going to be tough against the Patriots. But again, difficult location and time of year for a team from Massachusetts to play. Browns +13 against the Ravens. This one is when Lamar plays in the division, people are able to contain him. When he plays out of the division, they cannot. Lamar has owned the Browns in terms of win-loss record, but Ravens are always a lot better than the Browns. So 13, we just think it's the largest line of the season so far for a division game. That seems a little bit of a stretch, especially considering what Cincinnati and the Browns line was last week. Giants +6 against the Cowboys. I think it's too many points for a Cowboys team to be favored at this junction. Also think you'll see an inspired effort from the Giants. They were moving the ball actually pretty well against the Commanders last week. They just couldn't score. Multiple goal line 4th down stops inside the red zone. Only got 6 points against Commanders, but they were moving it. We expect to see that again too, and I like the fact that they're sticking with Russell Wilson and not making an immediate quarterback change at week 2. That never bodes well. It wouldn't make sense. Lions -5.5 against the Bears. A lot of this has to do with familiarity. Obviously, Ben Johnson familiar with that staff, and that staff familiar with Johnson. There is some concern with Taylor Decker at left tackle. If he's out, then you're already missing 2 offensive linemen from last year's season. It's not like you have injuries. They don't play there anymore. And so now you'd be down 3 from last year's season. The Lions should be able to run on the Bears, though, kind of regardless of that. You saw the Vikings do it in the second half against the Bears, mainly in the fourth quarter against the Bears last week, and I think you're going to see a pretty inspired effort from the Lions, which is something that you've been able to count on after a loss with Dan Campbell at the helm. Seahawks +4. The hell are they playing? The Steelers. Seahawks +4 against the Steelers. We tend to fade the Steelers when they're favored. It's just a thing. Mike Tomlin as an underdog is phenomenal. Mike Tomlin as a favorite is not as good. I actually loved what I saw out of Sam Darnold last week. It's a division game, so it's always tough, and that 49ers defense is tough. But I was expecting to see a bit more of a drop-off from Geno to Sam, just because I thought a lot of what Sam did last year had to do with Kevin O'Connell and that system. But he looked good. He looked pretty sharp, actually. So I think, again, 4 points is a little too many, so we'll take the Seahawks +4. Titans +6 against the Rams. Cam Ward, while his stat line wasn't phenomenal last week against Denver, at Denver too, if you watched the game, you could tell, like, oh, he's got, there were throws downfield, difficult throws to make as a quarterback, not just check downs, not just screen passes and things like that, where he was making, or if he didn't make it, it wasn't because he didn't put a good ball, it was because they defender made a good play or the receiver didn't catch it, whatever it was. So we like the Titans +6. Again, just too many points at home against the Rams team, who will be making a 11 a.m. local, 10 a.m. I forget if Nashville's in Central or Eastern Standard Time. Either a 10 a.m. or an 11 a.m. local kick for them when they travel out to Nashville to play that game. That's a tough one to be favored by 6 points. Saints +3.5 against the 49ers. Everyone just kind of seems to think that Mac Jones is going to step in and everything's going to look all the same. Again, that comes down to a lot of the disrespect that Brock Purdy receives, and that nobody thinks he's actually a good quarterback. He does a lot, especially with scrambling, especially with his legs on second and third and short situations. You will see that missing, and Greg Kittle is not there. Mac Jones historically has been someone who targets his wide receiver one to a fault, but good news for you guys to know if you're prop bettors or if you are fantasy players. Panthers +7.5 for 1 unit. I again come back to, I do not understand why the Cardinals are favored by 7 or more against anybody. I feel like there's just no more to say than that. I mean, they were favored by 7 against the Saints last week. We got a push. Probably should have got a win there. I just do not understand how people have this Cardinals team as touchdown or more favorites against anybody. I really don't. And if they were touchdown favorites against Spencer Rattler and the Saints, yes, it was on the road. Why are they touchdown 7.5 point favorites against the Panthers, even if it's at home? It makes no sense. I think we have more confidence in what Bryce Young and the Panthers are doing right now than what Spencer Rattler, who has not yet won a game in the NFL, is doing with the Saints. 2 more then. Both of these are going to be for 2 units. So the Colts at home for 2.5, +2.5 for 2 units against the Broncos. This is maybe my favorite play of the week. I'm a pretty big believer here that the Colts will win this game outright, but we'll see what happens. Again, I like what the Colts are doing. I like Daniel Jones in that system, especially with Steichen. You see a little bit of a QB coordinator marriage there. Yes, they played the Dolphins week 1, and yes, we think that Dolphins are not a very good team. But if you guys have been hearing me, I also think the Broncos are way overhyped coming into the year. And then we're taking the Chiefs at home against the Eagles, plus the 2 for 2 units as well. Mahomes is an underdog. Chiefs coming off of a Super Bowl loss where they got embarrassed against the Eagles. It's kind of all those things adding up into this one. Yeah, everybody loves the Eagles this week, especially with Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy being out. But yeah, you guys know what I think of Mahomes. I'm not backing off that train of, not only is he an underdog, he's a home underdog, which is a wild thing. And then Sunday Night Football tonight, we like the Falcons plus the 4 for 2 units against the Vikings. This is another one that's in that category of me for my favorite plays of the day. Vikings did put it together at the end of that game. They looked good. Falcons should have got a win week 1, and they did not. I like what I'm seeing a lot out of Penix Jr. Love the storyline of the national championship rematch between J.J. McCarthy and Penix from 2023. I don't think that really plays into any motivation for Penix at all. We're 2 years removed, and they're both NFL quarterbacks now on completely new team systems, all that stuff, which is a cool storyline. But we like the Falcons plus the 4 here for 2 units. That's it. Enjoy your NFL football Sunday. Stay safe out there, and let's hope we get some wins.